You're listening to the Roofing Company Marketing Podcast, a podcast dedicated to helping your service-based business grow and thrive using the latest technology in internet marketing. And now, here's the host of our show and the CEO of Gro.Inc., Matt Law.
All right, everyone. Welcome again to the training. My name is Matt Law. I am the CEO of a company called Gro.Inc. We are a marketing agency that works exclusively with service-based businesses like yours. You're here today probably because you want to learn about marketing. So I got some great news for you. This is a 12-part training course, and it's basically the A to Z of everything I have learned about marketing service businesses for the last 20 years. So we're going to take some deep dives. We're going to talk technical. We're going to talk about websites, and I'll tell you all the things we're going to go through in just a minute. But I will tell you, this is going to be the biggest deep dive I've ever done on service business marketing. I'm going to lay it out for you in 12 separate sessions that are going to be super helpful for you. So I would encourage you to start with this session and go all the way through the training. You're going to learn a ton about marketing and exactly what you should do to grow your service business. So before we get started, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I'll only do this in the initial episode. Like I said, I am the CEO of a company called Gro.Inc. We work exclusively with service businesses such as aluminum contractors, electricians, fence companies, home improvement companies, flooring contractors, septic, HVAC, plumbing, pool builders, roofing, and anything that has to do with service business that works directly with homeowners. So a little bit about myself. My name again is Matt Law. I've been an entrepreneur for about 25 years. It is one of my passions really in life. And I love leadership, entrepreneurship, and learning about marketing and automation. So for the last 20 years, I have been doing marketing on my service business. And then I became a marketing consultant and have done that for about the last 20 years or so. Again, I'm really passionate about seeing entrepreneurs win and seeing small businesses grow. To tell you a little bit about the flow of each training we are going to do, there's going to start off with about 20 minutes, 25 minutes of training. Then I'll answer some common questions, and then I'll introduce the next topic that we're going to talk about in the next training session. Today's training is going to be the summary of the 4-step marketing process that we use to help service businesses grow. I also want to point out that this is covered in our free 100-page book that's available on our website. It's basically the blueprint for growing service businesses. So I'll talk more about that at the end and all of the great resources we have. But I just want to welcome you and tell you we're glad we're here. There's no strings attached. We're putting all this information out there because we really do care about service businesses and we want to see your company win. So let's jump into today's training. And then at the end, I will recap all of the things we're going to get through in this training. So you're going to see there's a lot of information. But I want you to start off by learning the formula. And to understand this formula, first of all, you have to understand the problems that you're likely facing as a business owner or someone who's in charge of your company's marketing. So the first problem is the marketing giants. These are people, companies like Google, like Facebook, like the Yellow Pages. And the problem is the giants control marketing. And so when I tell you that, if you've ever spent money with Google ads or Bing and Yahoo ads or Facebook, when you started out, you probably didn't spend as much. And then what happens is prices continue to rise. Now, I know inflation is part of that, but they continue to raise prices. And what's interesting, when Facebook came out, Meta, which has Facebook and Instagram ads, and then all of these others, they've made billions of dollars in ad revenue. But what you need to notice is that Google's ads revenue or Google's revenues did not go down. And so now you've got Facebook, you've got, which is Meta, you've got Google, you've got Bing, you've got all these major advertising, and they pretty much have a monopoly and they control the ad spend. And so one thing I'm going to tell you right away is that they want you to spend as much money as you can with them and give you just enough leads so that you are satisfied. When I usually meet service businesses, they have tried working with pay-per-click or ads, these media giants, and they have lost a lot. They've spent a lot and they haven't got deals. And I'm going to address that in today's training. But one of the things you need to realize is they control the ad spend. They're not your friends. And you have to fight back with using very strategic marketing to win. So most of the business owners that I meet that are in service businesses, one, they are really frustrated with these companies like Google, Bing, Yahoo, or anywhere they're spending on pay-per-click, Facebook, if they're spending on Instagram or TikTok or wherever they're spending on, it doesn't work unless you know what you're doing. Number two, another problem you're facing is that you don't have anybody on your team that knows what they're doing. They're novices. And if you are doing your marketing and your website, you are probably a novice as well. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. Obviously, there's some guys that are super technical that are in the service business world, but most guys had what Michael Gerber calls an entrepreneurial seizure, which means they were really good at doing a trade and then they went out and started their own business. I did the same thing when I got into business. That's from a book called The E-Myth Revisited, which is a book about systems. But most entrepreneurs start because they were good at a trade. More than likely, you're not very good at managing ads. You're probably not very good at website building and marketing automation and setting up systems. And if you are the owner and you're not good, you are looking for someone to do that for you. And you think you got somebody and you hire them, they're freelance, and then they go away and there's turnover. Even if you own a bigger service business, you have hired agencies maybe, and you're like, hey, I've got this agency, and you get this guy that's a sales guy. He tells you, hey, you're going to be in the top 10 in Google, and he gives you all these promises, and then he turns over, or they never quite deliver what they say they're going to deliver. And the reason is they are novices. And even if they're good at marketing and they really know what they're doing, chances are they're going to turn over and they're going to find another job, because marketing, there's a lot of turnover in. And so one of the things I'll tell you as well, even if you find a marketer that's really good in one area, like most marketing agencies don't work just with service businesses. So they are going to offer suggestions that may work for an e-commerce company or something like that. So one of the problems you probably have is that you can't find someone reliable to help you. Or if it's you really don't know what you're doing. The other thing is that there's so many options with marketing, right? I mean, if there's SEO, and I'm sure you get 1,000 emails a day saying, hey, we'll help you rank number one. Hey, there's errors on your website. And then there's local. You got the guys coming in wanting you to sponsor things for the Little League in your town and, 5K races. And there's all these opportunities, and they tell you, hey, you got to get your name out there. You got to get your name out there. You got a Google ad rep that's telling you, hey, there's things wrong with your account. You got people coming from the yellow pages trying to sell you on something. And so as a previous service business owner, I get where you're at. There's so many options, but no solutions. And so where do you pick? And so what I want to do today in this training is help you understand a formula. And for some of you listening, this is going to really, really make sense, because there's a mystery, I think, in marketing where people are just like, hey, I don't know what to do. And I'm going to give you 4 simple steps that if you follow these 4 simple steps, you will see your company grow. And what I'll tell you is this is the same exact formula that we use with all of our clients to see 200, 300, 400% growth in their businesses in a short period of time. I'll give you some examples. And if you end up wanting to work with us or talk to us about this later, I can let you talk to some of the clients that have gone through this process. It's a powerful process, but here's what you need to realize. It's not complicated. It's not easy to implement. It does take work, but it's not complicated. And it's really our exact blueprint for growth for service businesses. So Here are the 4 steps, and I'll kind of recap as I go. So step number 1 for your company really doesn't have anything to do with marketing, but it has to do with increasing conversions. So by changing your overall marketing message, you can increase conversion. So step number 1 is say the right thing with your unique selling points. Unique selling points are what makes your company unique, better, faster, smarter, more trustworthy, so that your prospects say, wow, it's really cool that they do that. So if I were to look at your ads or your website, it would probably say something like this: we're nice, we have integrity, we're family owned and operated, we do jobs right the first time, and it's really just platitudes. And you're saying things most likely that the prospect will say, well, they better do that. They better have honesty and integrity, else I'm going to sue them. You are saying the same thing as everyone else. And here's what I ask new business owners. And if you ever call me, this is what I'm going to ask you. Well, why should I buy from you versus your competitor down the road? How are you better? And if everything is the same, if everything is equal, people will only buy in price. But if your warranty is better, if your guys are more trustworthy, if you have amazing reviews, if you can get it done faster, how do you leave the job site? There's a lot of things in service businesses that can separate you from your competitor. And here's what I will just tell you is that your customers, your prospects, they don't care about you. They don't care about you're a small business. They don't care that you've been in business longer. What they care about is getting what they want. And I tell this to business owners: everyone will be nice to you and they'll be genuine to you, but in the end, they only care about WIFM, and it stands for what's in it for me. What's in it for me? And you have to remember it. WIFM, that's the radio station that they are tuned in. They care about themselves and what's in it for them. So they want to know about the job process. Can you get it done faster? All right. Do you guarantee your work? And so with a lot of our clients, we bump up their warranty. We make sure that their guys leave the job site clean. We make sure that their subcontractors or their staff have our background checked. I mean, let's be honest, drug use is something that is known for in subcontractors. And we want to make sure, hey, these guys are not on drugs. They're arriving sober. It's interesting. A while back, we had some work done on our floors at our house. And these guys, I was in the other room working and just doing a little bit of marketing. And their conversation was so just not professional and just what they were talking about. And they were some young guys. And so I give them some grace for that. But that's something the company should have been like, hey, if there's customers around and you're doing some work, watch your conversation. But it was kind of vulgar. And that was kind of a turnoff to me because they don't know, what I'm thinking. And I'm thinking through this from a marketing standpoint. I'm like, hey, you guys just don't get it. And so there's a lot of things that your company can change in its overall marketing message and create unique selling points, which will increase your conversions. Well, what do you do with these unique selling points? Every time you open your mouth, it's kind of like what your mama said. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Well, what we want to do is we want to take these unique selling points, and there may be 8 or 9 of them, and we're going to put them in a handout that we give to the customer. It's going to be on the front page of our website. Our sales guys that go to sell a job, they know them. They're going to share them, how we're different. And it really says why we are different, how we are different, why we are better. One of the things that you need to realize is that before a company ever calls you or fills out a form on your website, they're looking at your reviews. And so one thing we do is we clean up reviews and we help you get a lot better reviews. And what most of the time, companies have done a good job for a lot of clients, and the clients just haven't done reviews for them. And so we work with a company to go back and boost their Google reviews. And I will tell you, if you don't have at least a 4.7 Google review, you're kind of in trouble. If you look at Google reviews and you see who's reviewed you, and the problem is you may have a 3.0 review. It's all the bad jobs or the jobs that went sideways that are talking. You have to go back and find the jobs that went well, remember them, and then ask them for reviews. And so you need to have good reviews. But if you do all those things and you have great unique selling points, you do a better warranty, you innovate on the inside, right? And you make some changes, you build some good systems, you communicate better, and really improve your unique selling points. If you do that, what will happen is you will convert more jobs. And let me just give you an example. Say you're quoting, I don't know, let's say you're quoting 100 jobs a year, like big jobs, like big money making jobs, like you want to close these. Well, let's say you're closing at 40% right now. If that went to 45% instead of 40%, like if you could just increase that by 5 jobs, and we're not talking about adding any marketing, we're talking about what you're doing right now. Like if your jobs are worth 20,000, that's 5 extra jobs. That's an extra 100 grand in revenue and money. But when you increase your conversions plus add on marketing, which we're going to talk about in the other steps, you're going to see your business grow. So one thing you need to realize is the first thing in regards to your business success is increasing conversions and building trust. It's said in marketing that people do business with you if they know you, if they like you, and if they trust you. Unique selling point, that phase, step number 1, is all about getting them to know you, to like you, and to trust you, and sharing with them why you are better. So hopefully that makes sense. That's step number 1. Say the right thing with your unique selling points. And you're saying, hey, I thought this was all about marketing. Conversions matter in marketing. And so to help your company overall grow, we got to get your messaging right. So that's your message. Step number 1, say the right thing with your unique selling point. Step number 2 is grow your database with platforms and offers. Now, I know you're saying, what the heck does that mean? So a database, let's talk about this. A database is nothing more than somewhere where you store prospects' information. And it could be their name, their address, their phone number, their email address. It's a database. It could be a spreadsheet. It could be a tool like MailChimp, or it could be your CRM. For us as marketing consultants for service business, we store this in a custom CRM for clients that connects to other tools. But here's what you need to know. It's just a storage container. It's a bucket. So grow your database using platforms and offers. So what is a platform and offer? You're like, hey, Matt, I have no idea what you're even talking about. Your database is wherever you store everything, but your platform is everywhere you come into contact with prospects where you can have a database exchange. And really for service businesses, there's a couple places. First of all, it's your website. People go to your website, they can give you their information. They can request a quote. They can request something, right? So that's one platform. Another platform where you connect with prospects is your telephone. So a prospect calls in, they have some questions. They are interested in something. This is a spot where you can say, hey, can I have your name? Can I have your phone number? Can I have your email? That's another place a database exchange could be made. There's a few others as well. So if you do trade shows, that's another place you could have a database exchange. If you have sales guys that go out into the field and knock on doors, like maybe you're doing solar and you're knocking on the door saying, hey, we'd like to work with you. And the guy says, no, I'm not interested, maybe down the road. And then you say to them, well, could I give you this? Would you be interested in receiving this? Maybe check it out down the road. That's another place that a database exchange could be made, because your salesperson could have an iPad and they could put their information in, push submit, and a database exchange is made. So platforms are anywhere you come in contact with a prospect. But remember, the data has to move. That's what defines a platform. So grow your database with platforms and offers. Database is where you store it. Platforms is where you meet that person, that prospect. And an offer is anything you give away to a prospect that makes them say, yeah, I'd like to learn more about that. And so in service businesses, usually an offer is something like a quote request. request a free quote. And so they'll fill out that form. You could also use something like a design guide. So if you are like a remodeling company, you could do like a kitchen design guide, a bathroom design guide. It could be, if you're a pool contractor, it could be the latest pool designs. There's a lot of different things that you could offer. It could be video. It could be something that they want. So maybe they come to your website, and I'll give you an example. They're checking it out and they're thinking about working with it, but they're just not ready. They're just had some curiosity. And all of a sudden they see an offer to say, hey, would you be interested in receiving this? It's low pressure. It's free. It's no stress. Like, get it, instant download, check it out. And they fill out that form, right? And they submit that, and instantly they receive that free offer. Maybe you're doing a coupon or something like that for new customers, and that's a way to increase the quote request as well. So there's a few things that you could do like that, and it could be an information package, it could be a DVD, it could be a number of things that you want to send out. But here's what you need to realize. When you give away something free with no strings attached, it will increase your conversions and your opt-ins and your requests. So imagine, let's take a couple other scenarios. You go, you have someone answering your phone, someone gets a call. Hey, I'm just curious about ballpark what this would cost. I'm thinking about doing it. And you say, hey, no stress, no pressure. The person's answering your phone says, hey, I can send you over our design guide, and it will tell you a lot about things like that, what you need to know and how all this works. They say, sure, yeah, send that over to me. You get their name, you get their email in their CRM, they push enter, type it in, enter, boom. It automatically sends them that information right away, instantly. And now they're in your database. And we'll talk about how you follow up with them in a minute, but this is a way to increase conversions. You have someone out in the field, you're doing a trade show. Everywhere you go, hey, this is really cool. They scan a QR code. They can instantly download something for free. You are giving away something of value that tells them about your business. And by the way, inside of your offer, that resource that you're giving, even if it's just a coupon, at the bottom of it, you're sharing your unique selling points. We're always trying to increase conversions. So let's recap. Step number 1, say the right thing with your unique selling points. We get your message on point. Step number 2, we focus on growing your database. And as it grows, we're not just going to let that sit there. You're going to see in a minute, we are going to communicate to these people with our unique selling points. But we've identified our database. We know where we are coming in contact with prospects. And then we're developing offers to make sure our database is growing all of the time. So powerful stuff. You're going to see how this all comes together in a second. Now, step number 3 is why you listened to this podcast. It's called Measure and Leverage the Marketing Arsenal. So the marketing arsenal is just all of the different tools that you use to grow and get exposure for your business. So it's called Measure and Leverage the Marketing Arsenal because most service businesses, what they do is they spend money on marketing and they don't measure anything. So what they do is they will take all of their marketing budget, they mix it with mud and $100 bills, basically, and they throw it against a wall and they hope that something sticks. And so every year they do that, and that's their budget. Throw it against the wall. We're growing. We're doing okay. They hope it sticks to the wall, and they don't dare stop doing anything because they don't know what's working. So we have a whole training course dedicated to learning how to measure marketing. But here's what I'm going to tell you. There is an opportunity and a way that you can measure all of your marketing so you know what works and you know what doesn't. So briefly, let me explain to you how measurable marketing works. And again, there's a whole training. There are tools that you can measure for all of your online marketing. It will basically add tracking data, UTM data, to every person who visits your website, unless it's from like Google Organic, but it will track everyone who visits your website. And this is what's cool. You can see how each person that comes into your database that requests a quote, how they heard about you. You can also measure phone calls online. So there's tracking scripts that will change the phone number based on where they came from. So you can see where you got that phone call from. Everything online, everything offline can be measured. And here's what you need to realize when you can measure your online marketing. It's powerful. Yellow Page guy comes in to renew. All right. It's $1,000 a month. And you've been doing this for a long time. It's online now. I know it's not in the regular Yellow Page because no one used that, but you say, hey, let me check something. You log into your CRM or you say, hey, how many leads did we get out of this? You got 3 leads. How many sales did you get? None. What do you do with that $1,000? You say, hey, listen, bro, we're not going to renew this year. You gave me 3 leads. All right. And no sales. We're not renewing. And then you take that $1,000 and you reallocate it to what is working. So measure the marketing arsenal and then you leverage what's working and then you don't spend on what isn't working. So imagine right now you're marketing, you're probably spending whatever you're spending. Let's say you're spending $10,000 a year in marketing. Probably half of that is wasted, right? So imagine if all of it was effective. It's the same way with like online pay-per-click. You can figure out what works and what doesn't, and you can eliminate what doesn't work. And so all of the marketing that you do has to be measured. Now, why do we call it the marketing arsenal? It's kind of like this. You're going into battle, right, with your competitors, and each business is unique. Now, service businesses use a very particular marketing arsenal. It's kind of like going to war. Some wars, it's like, hey, let's just drop the atom bomb. Some of it's drones. Some it's boots on the ground fighting. Every battle is unique. And for service businesses, there's really just a few things that you need to do in marketing. I'm going to give you a list of them here. And what's great is in our training, I'm going to go through each of these deep dives and tell you exactly how to set those up. So the first thing that you're going to do is local SEO. So let's say you go to Google and you type in, let's say it's a plumbers near me. Well, in the map section at the top, it's called the Google Local Pack. There's usually 3 listed there, and there may be some other ads and sponsored there. But you can actually get listed there, not based on how many reviews you have, not based on how long you've been in business, but by having your name, address, and phone number, along with some other factors in place, done the right way, and you can actually list there for free. And I will tell you, if you can hit that spot, oh my goodness, the amount of leads and calls you will get will grow substantially. It's powerful. So that's local SEO. But then there's organic SEO. Now, organic SEO is below that local map section in the ads. There's the free organics. Now, Google pushes those down pretty far, but sometimes what's awesome is there's not a lot of local packs there, or there's not a lot of search ads there. And so you can get a ton of free traffic from organic SEO. So I'm giving you exactly what the marketing arsenal is for service businesses. And this works really well. So one is local SEO, which is the maps, organic SEO, which is down at the bottom. Then there is pay-per-click or search ads. So this is Google ads. So if someone is searching for something, you can do ads at the top. So imagine if you were in the ads, in the maps, and in the organics. They're going to see your name 3 times as they scroll down. And I will tell you, you are going to get clicks out of that. So that's for the online search. We also do remarketing ads, which is when someone visits your site and we can follow them by basically putting a tracking script on there where a pixel is set. So if they visit your site, let's say from Facebook, and then a tracking pixel is sent, now Google will say, hey, this person visited from this IP, let's remarket to them. There's also some social media and a couple of other pay-per-click ads and accounts we would set up. But you say, Matt, that's it? That's all I need to do? It's crazy, but most companies aren't doing this effectively. And if you are ranked number 1 for these areas and you do the remarketing and the local, and there's a lot to these things, I should say, it's website health. It is content marketing. There's a lot into those. But if you can get those few areas in place, boom, you're going to have more business than probably you can handle. So what about all that other stuff, Matt, that I should be doing? More than likely, you could cut all of that out. All of your billboards and all of that. And this is what I hear from people sometimes. They're like, hey, Matt, they tell me I've got to get your name out there. And I call bull. Here's what you need to do. You need to spend, and if you're a small company, you don't have big bucks to spend that. If you are a small business, I hope you hear me on this, every dollar you spend has to generate a lead or return. You've got to do something that works. And because you measure everything, you're going to know what works and what doesn't. There's some offline marketing that I do suggest. Like there's a tool called Every Door Direct Mail, EDDM, where you can mail people and in a certain area and offer a set thing, offer of what you can do for them. So that can work as well. But what I find is most businesses are so successful with their online marketing that they want us to turn it down, and they don't need to do offline marketing. So this is, again, for attracting new prospects. And remember, in the podcast, I'll talk about everything we're going to go through in a little bit. But in this training, we are going to go through local SEO, organic SEO, pay-per-click, and all of this. So hang in there with me, and I'll talk to you about that. But here's what you need to know. You don't have to do a whole lot. And you notice I talked briefly about social media, and the big buzz is, social media. And so some companies have someone full-time social media. Their social media. The problem is you've got 100 followers on your Facebook page or your Instagram account. And there some of them aren't even local. So believe me, this is exactly what I know works with service businesses. And so we do manage social media, but you don't want to put all your effort into that. So, and then because we measure everything, you eliminate what doesn't work and you double down on what does work. It's like blackjack, double down. So the marketing arsenal is step number 3, measure and leverage the marketing arsenal. So here's what we got so far. We're going to say the right things with our unique selling points. That's about conversions. Step number 2, we're going to grow our database using platforms and offers. So we are giving away free stuff everywhere we can. Our database is growing. Then we're going to measure and leverage the marketing arsenal. And that's like pouring gas on the fire. Now you got all these people at your website. They're seeing your offer. They're seeing your USP. They're like, whoa, what's going on, man? This pouring this gas on the fire. You're going to get a lot of traffic to your website. Step number 4 is marketing automation, and it's communicating with your prospects using marketing automation. So we want to automate the process, automate everything using marketing automation. So let me give you an example. You got a great website, you got an offer on it, you're spending money on ads. People are landing there and they're opting in for your free offer or they're requesting a quote. We have all these great things to tell them about our company. Like, we're not family owned and operated. We have a 4.7% rating on Google. Read our reviews here. Hey, we offer the area's best warranty, 3 years. Our guys are background tested, cleaned. There's things that you can say that why you are different. So now they request a quote, right? They're a prospect. They opt in immediately. They get a package with your USPs, PDF package. We'll talk about this in our training. Next up, 2 days later, they get USP email 1, unique selling point email 1. A couple of days later, they get unique selling point postcard 1, which talks about your online reviews. They can scan a QR code. And you can build a automation sequence, all right, which is also called a marketing funnel, which communicates why you're better than everyone else. And here's what I'll tell you. If every time you generated a lead, you communicated why you're better before you show up to sell them, they know who's coming, all right? Their appointments are confirmed with a text message, like all of these things that make your company tight. And it's not expensive to do. It's complicated, but not expensive. If you do these things, you will see an increase in your conversions because you follow up. Now they become a customer because you communicated why you're better ahead of time, not spamming them every day, but slowly communicating with them your unique selling points as they're on the journey of deciding. As you do this, here's what's super cool. When they become a customer, now you follow up with your customers each quarter. Hey, postcard. Did you know that we also do this? Email each quarter. Hey, could we interest you? And you can cross-sell, referrals, different things like that. So there's a lot here that you can do once they're inside of the database. And it's called permission-based marketing. There's a lot of great books about it. Seth Godin, brilliant marketer, wrote a book about permission-based marketing. And what it is you gave them something for free, and now they're interested in working with you. Maybe they even requested a quote, and you're communicating with them, not spamming them. Hey, thanks for requesting. Did you know that we also do this? And what you're doing is you're increasing the value in their mind about who you are, why you're better, and so that people want to do business with you regardless of price. It's a big thing. So those are the 4 steps, and I'll just say them again. Say the right thing with your unique selling points. This is about conversion, why you're better. And if you're listening to this, you need to start thinking about, hey, how can I compete with my competitors regardless of price? Step number 2 is, what can we give away to grow our database? Grow your database with platforms and offers. So you got to define your platform, define your offer. And again, design guides, initial quotes, discounts, coupons, things like that work very well in service business. And as you give those away, they're going into the database. And remember, we're going to follow up with marketing automation. So step 1, USP. Step 2, platforms and offers. Step number 3, measure and leverage the marketing arsenal. There's a whole training on measuring, so you can learn all about how you can measure your marketing. But that's what we do. We measure what works and we cut out what doesn't, and then you double down on what does work. And you don't need to do a lot of things in there. And then step 4, you automate this follow-up. And we do that through our CRM. Again, this is all covered in the training, but you could do it through apps like MailChimp. You just need to make sure you're following up with your prospects until they become customers. And when they become customers, you want to put them on a communication cycle where you're following up with them. And so I will tell you that this process is super simple. And it's all covered in our detailed book. It's 100 pages written just for service businesses. And it goes through these 4 steps. And we give this away for free to all of our prospects in hopes that they will just learn, and then they will use this. This is our free offer also as part of the 4-step marketing process. We give this away free, and we give this education away free because we know that more educated they are and more they learn, that it's going to, 1, help them, but 2, that one day they may decide, hey, I'm interested in working with you, Matt, and Gro.Inc. So this is our offer, but it's really valuable and really great information. So I think it's important to share with you, like, I didn't just wake up one day and say, hey, this works. No, the 4-step marketing process came through a lot of pain, actually. About 15 years ago, I was doing just search engine optimization. Now, you got to think about this. This is before Facebook. This is before even mobile websites. I mean, this is 2010, 2009, 2008, somewhere in there. I'm trying to think of exactly. I think it's about 2008. And I had a SEO client, maybe 2009. And this SEO client, the only thing I was doing was SEO for them. Now, I had some other clients as a consultant. I had about 15 clients, and I was learning a ton about marketing, email marketing. I was, there wasn't text message marketing. There wasn't, social media really. And so I was doing a pretty good job of learning and mastering SEO. Now, I know a ton about search engine optimization, as you'll hear in our other trainings, but I was doing a great job. But I had grown their traffic by about, maybe about 100% year over year. And the company was getting ready to renew their contract. And I don't remember what they were spending. I think something like $2,500 a month. And for my family and for my business, that was a pretty good chunk. And I had my meeting with them, ready to renew. And they call me up and they fire me. And I was ticked. I was upset, but I was like, why are you firing me? We are growing. We're doing good. And they said they wanted to work with an agency that was going to do more for them. For example, help them develop resources to give away, work with them on email marketing and outreach and all of these things. And I was like, man, are you serious? And so they fired me, and I spent a couple days, and I was a little ticked, and I was like, I know a lot about marketing, but the problem is I don't communicate what I know, and I don't communicate what they should do. So I was working with other clients who were giving away free resources and, opting in people and then following up with automation. And it was working. And then I had clients that were doing local search that it was working. I had clients that were killing it with pay-per-click. And obviously things have changed over the last 15 years, but the principles of marketing really haven't. And so I sat down and I wrote all of the things that a company should do to grow. And at the time, I had been doing marketing for maybe about 5 years, but I had been an entrepreneur for maybe about, somewhere like 8 to 10 years. And I basically wrote down everything I knew. And then I broke it down into 4 piles of data and kind of created that. And obviously, I've got a lot of influence in my life through other marketers and books that I've read about marketing and still continue to read. But here's what I will tell you. I had this 4-step formula that I just went through. I had no idea if it would work. I had no idea what would happen, but I put it on my website and I said, hey, this is what I'm going to do with a company. The next company I get, I'm going to bring them through this process. I believed in it because it's what I saw in all these companies. This is a long time ago, guys. And I developed this marketing process and I was ready to go. And about 6 months later, that big client, the $2,500 a month SEO client, calls me and he says, Matt, that other agency that we hired, they sucked. They didn't do anything. It was $5,000 a month. I want to spend $5,000 a month with you and drop it all into search engine optimization. I want to blow this up. And one, I was excited because that other company didn't do anything and they want to come back with me. But the other thing was I wanted to really help them grow. And so this was an e-commerce company. They were probably doing about, maybe $15,000, $18,000 a month in revenue. And I was like, no, you need to not do that. We need to plan. And so I was like, I'd like to come out and meet with you. And they were in LA. So I flew out to LA and I said, let's strategize for 2 days about the business. And we went through their unique selling points and we went through offers and how we could do that. We went through the marketing arsenal. And so just so you know, there's other marketing arsenal weapons that I didn't mention, like affiliate marketing, right? Like incentive campaigns. There's so much you could do with other businesses. I didn't mention those to you when we were doing our training today, but I gave them all the marketing arsenal that they could do, especially for like e-commerce businesses, influencer campaigns going on. And so once we did that, we figured out a marketing automation campaign to follow up with our prospects. And I said, well, let's see what happens. So I come home, I implement it. It takes about a month, maybe 45 days. And all of a sudden we see everything really growing. And so within about 6 months, they had doubled their revenues. And so instead of doing like 15, they're doing 30,000 a month. And they are excited because, man, we can see the traffic growing. We can see the conversions growing. They can see it. So they fly me back out and I said, well, let's go through and let's fine tune this and let's clean it up. We go through the 4 steps again. We add more marketing because they got more to spend. So we add new ideas and that company again doubled. All right. So now they're doing like $60,000 a month. Well, this continued to happen where I would travel out there and meet with them until they got to about $120,000 a month. And I 4X this company in about 18 months. And I said, oh my gosh, we got something here. And so I decided that I would implement this process into our business. Like, hey, it only makes sense. We're helping companies. And this guy, I look back and it was so funny. He's 26-year-old e-commerce, doesn't have any products. He's a surfer and he's making $100,000 a month in California. I think, and I was doing well, like they paid a lot, but here's the thing. I was like, holy cow, I just helped this guy become a millionaire and this formula is powerful. And so I implemented into our company. We added a training side and I trained consultants and we grew by some 300% the next year. And over the last 15 years, we've helped lots of companies grow using this formula. And I believe in it. I'm passionate about it and it's simple. And that's one thing that I love. We've helped, one of the companies that we helped was an HVAC company, and they grew by 2.5%. This was during the recession that was really bad, which was huge back then. Over the last couple of years, we have worked with aluminum contractor who 4x their business was doing about $800,000 over almost to $4 million in a very short period of time. And I love seeing service businesses win. I remember one of the companies that I consulted with was a pool company. And the only thing I did with the pool company is I helped them with their unique selling points. And I really just we talked about things that they could do to compete with their competitors and partnerships. And we really innovated their company with unique selling points. And what he would do is he would go out when he was selling, he would just talk about those things in comparison to their competitors, and he had a much higher closing rate. And the only marketing that he did was he asked them, and this is one of the tactics we use, and this is covered in our training, is that he basically would take the job that he had won and he would say, hey, will you post a picture before, during, and after on Facebook? And if you do that, I'll give you a few $100s off of your pool. And by doing the before, during, and after, for those people posting it on social media, he would get a ton of referrals. By just doing those two things, he doubled his pool company. And, this is small stuff, but it's powerful to grow. And it really blew me away. And so taking into consideration all of the marketing we've done for service businesses and just how it works, it became one of my passions. And so that is why I started Gro.Inc. To work exclusively with service businesses. And so even though we are a newer company, I'm not new to service business marketing. That's one of the things that I love. If you have any questions and you want, like, Matt, hey, you said this and I didn't quite get it. I want you to know you can reach out, and I'm happy to give you some feedback or help. You can just send your question to an email address that we created called questions at Gro.Inc, Gro.Inc, and I'm happy to answer that. So basically, as who we are in this training, I told you about the marketing strategy that we use for our clients, a little bit about us and who we are. If you have any questions, you can reach out to us at questions@Gro.Inc. But before I close out this, I just want to remind you of one thing. At our website, if you are just starting to listening to this, and maybe you're listening to it on a podcast somewhere and you're not listening on our website, remember you can go to our website and you can go to Gro.Inc/start, and you can request our free book, all of our training resources there. We actually have a lot of stuff there. We have the book, but it's also in a Kindle format. If you want to read it on a Kindle, you can also read it on Apple or on a Google device, your iPad. And you can also listen to an audio format of our book. So if you're out driving to a prospect and you want to deep dive into the 4-step marketing process, you can do that as well. And so there's a lot of great resources. There's also a checklist of all of the things that we suggest for service business marketing. Now, it's not super detailed, but there's a checklist of things that you could learn about and study about. And then all of the marketing tools that we suggest is right there on that list, what websites we use, everything you're going to learn about in this training. So very, very helpful. So I want to talk to you about what's coming up in the training. And so I hope you started here, but this is what I want to talk about in our upcoming trainings. And so episode number 2 or session number 2, we're going to talk about measurable marketing. And so what I'm going to talk to you about, and that is Google Analytics, conversion goals, and we're going to dig into how to make your marketing measurable. I will talk to you about all of the tools that you need. Super easy and straightforward, and you can get your marketing set up as measurable. I'm going to talk to you in our session number 3 about websites and landing pages. I'll talk to you about the tools we use and how to set up your website so that you get a better quality score with Google. And we're basically going to talk about these landing pages and how you can make your website measurable and exactly what works to make an SEO friendly website. And it's going to be a very helpful episode. In our fourth training, we're going to talk about the ultimate welcome package. And what that is remember all those USPs we were talking about, how you can communicate how you're better in a welcome package. And so this is a folder, this is a PDF, this is a document that has flyers in it, and it tips the scale so that prospects are wowed by you when you meet with them or your sales guys meet with them. And if they request a quote online, they also can receive that digitally as well. And then we're going to get into some very online marketing. So episode 5, session 5, we are going to talk about local search, name, address, phone number, how we get into that local pack. We're going to talk about citations, what that means, reviews, social media, how that plays a part. And then in session number 6, episode 6, we're going to talk about SEO, link building, and content marketing. And really, I'm going to just explain to you what you need to do to grow your website traffic organically. And so it's not hard, but you need to make content pieces. Writing is a big part of what you need to do. Buying backlinks. We're going to talk about where's that land. And this is all about SEO. It does take time and work, but it's powerful. So imagine, and I'll just tell you this, our clients rank for in the top 5 for every single keyword they want to. And we'll talk about like geography regions. Like in our area, there's like DeLand, Deltona, DeBary, Orange City. These are all cities. And I have a client in the local area, and they rank number 1 for every service for every city. And it's simply by creating content. So this is going to really give you some great tips for SEO. And then in episode 7, session number 7, we're going to talk about how you can use social media to create these referrals. I told you about this pool builder who did this. Well, this actually works for every type of service business, that if they post before and after pictures, before, during, and after pictures on your big jobs, it will help you get referrals, and you can pay them a small percentage of it, and you can just keep the referral engine going. In session number 8, we're going to talk about Google Ads, which is really just pay-per-click. It can be applied to Bing as well, but how you can dominate through pay-per-click marketing. And in that session, we're going to talk about local ads. We're going to talk about the Google guarantee. We're going to talk about remarketing, search ads, all of these things. And we'll tell you how to kind of manage it and what we do as part of that. Episode 9 is a little bit of a different training. We're going to talk about how to use yard signs and get referrals from every job that's completed, and how to boost your reviews. So there's a system you can use, like when a job is done, if it goes well, sending a thank you gift, and then also asking them for a review. And there's a way you can process this to increase reviews. On average, our clients increase their reviews by about maybe 400% over a couple of years. So if you're just starting with a few reviews and you're like, hey, we don't have very many, imagine what it would be like if you had 100 reviews or 150 reviews. So it's really, really going to grow. And that's a really practical training we're going to use. So you could see we've got a lot of really great stuff coming, but that's not even all of it. So the next episode, we're going to do session number 10. We're going to talk about free offers. And I mentioned it in this training, but what do you give away for free offers? And so we'll talk about how you can do that and talk about coupons. We're going to talk about, the impacts of your free offer, answer some common questions in there. Our next to last training is going to be all about our CRM. So I'll talk to you about NAC CRMs. I know your company probably has a CRM for like business, and that's fine, how you get the jobs done, but you need something that for the sales side, the process side, to automate communication. So I'll talk to you about a custom CRM. Most of our clients that are growing substantially, that are on like a ongoing growth campaign, which is what we call it, they have a custom CRM that's built for their business. And so I'll talk to you how that works and how it ties into automation so you can convert. And then our last episode, our last training will be marketing automation, how to follow up with prospects and customers, and how that works and what that looks like. So you can see we've got a lot of information coming your way. Again, it's all free. It's just our part, our way of wanting to help you grow. And you say, Matt, man, you put a lot into this. You've got the book, you've got the checklist, you've got this training, and you're not holding anything back. You're giving people the blueprint to grow their company, and you're just giving it away for free. And one thing I will just tell you business owners that are listening, it's the law of reciprocation. If you help other people with education and free resources and just good things, if you do the same thing with your clients, right, they are your prospects, they're going to feel more inclined to want to work with you. For example, if you gave away a free design guide that walks them through valuable of how they could design their next project, their home improvement project, if you provide value to others, they are going to be more inclined to want to work with you. So at Gro.Inc, it's really crazy is we don't have salespeople. We aren't going to hire salespeople high pressure. What we do is we provide value and we provide resources, and we do the same 4-step marketing formula as you're learning about here. And because of that, because of having offers, because of providing value, people intrinsically, they want to work with us. And so it's a win-win. So why are we doing all this? Hey, first of all, we want to help, but of course we know that by helping others through this process, we are going to find clients that want to work with us. Again, there's no pressure. We'd love to work with you, but here's what I want you to know is like, we're giving this so that you can help your business grow and be successful. And we're happy to answer questions as we go. We actually don't take on everyone as a client as well. So some companies are too big, some are too small. And so we even have a application process to make sure we are taking on the right client. Part of our business model is being a marketing partner. And so we only want to take a client on that has the possibility to grow substantially, because the way our fees are based is based on your company winning. So if your company doesn't grow, then we're not going to get paid. And so our model is very different. So take it for what it is. We just want to help you. And then if as you go through the training, you're like, hey, I want to learn more, then you can fill out the application. We can schedule a call. We could talk. Happy to help and just encourage you in any way. But there's also, you can email us if you have any questions. So we got a lot to come. This was a long episode. The rest of them are shorter, but I hope you got a lot out of it. We'll see you the next time around. Thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks for listening to the podcast today. We hope you found today's episode helpful and informative. For more information about Gro.Inc. and to request our free marketing blueprint ebook and other resources, please visit www.Gro.Inc. That's Gro.Inc. We'll catch you in the next episode.